You are now entering Video Village.
Birthplace of renowned Professor Sebastian Serpin and stamping ground of the mysterious Snake Man. Wait.
Coming up,
We review Beast Games,
Apple Cider Vinegar,
Bridget Jones' Mad About the Boy,
The Gorge,
Hard Truths,
High Potential,
The Last Showgirl,
September 5th,
Dogman,
Love Hurts.
and Captain America Brave New World. Let's start with the Sam's Lexicentre.
Always.
Always. Not always.
Not
Did we
always?
have it in the last one?
Yeah.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Samuel. Words. Phrases. Sam's Lexicentre.
Center.
This is when a character unwittingly reveals their villainous nature, usually, but not exclusively, by offering information they couldn't have known if they were innocent.
Okay.
Have you heard of the website TV Tropes?
Yes.
Yes. That was kind of the inspiration behind the Lexicentre. And that has an entry called I Never Said It Was Poison,
Okay.
which is a similar kind of thing. So they give the example of a perp being interrogated by a cop. You killed that woman. I'm telling you, I didn't poison her. And thus giving away that...
Well, we
'cause how
never
could they
said
have
it was
known?
poison. Yeah,
Yes.
okay, all right.
So that's in the ballpark, but I'm thinking more LA Confidential, you know, where James Cromwell reveals to Kevin Spacey... No, sorry, Kevin Spacey says to James Cromwell, Rollo Tomassi, and then Cromwell says that to Guy Pearce, which lets him know that he's the bad guy.
Yes.
Or the folder in The Departed that Matt Damon has on his desk, you know, with the citizen's advice written in, like, that's been misspelled.
Oh, okay.
And that's what DiCaprio figures out.
Yeah.
That wider principle. I'm going to call that the Tomassi drop.
Oh, right. Yes. Because you drop it.
You drop it.
in the conversation, and it's like,
Yeah.
bad guy.
The Tomassi drop.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Samuel. Words. Phrases. Sam's Lexicentre.
Center.
Jordan,
Yeah?
would you like to tell us about Beast Games?
I shall. It's been a while since you've left me to do a review, haven't you?
Well, yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
Not by... I don't feel I've stopped you from doing it.
No. It's just like I feel like it's been a while since it's been right. This is just you. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to talk about Beast Games, which is a game show on Amazon hosted by the titular Mr. Beast. I think he's the biggest YouTuber in the world.
I think he is, yeah.
It's one of those things where, like, in my head,
PewDiePie?
yeah, but
Yeah.
I don't even think PewDiePie's top 10 anymore.
No,
you know?
I don't think it's like a changing, flexible ranking. I think he's number one by quite a wide margin.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've never seen any of his content.
No, well, I think that Beast Games is kind of like the logical extreme of the type of stuff he's been doing on YouTube for a while.
Right.
My experience of his content is he'll do videos basically where he'll be like, I found this random person and I'm going to give them, $1 million if they can do this very specific task. Or I'm going to lock 1,000 people in a room for 5 days and whoever survives.
Yeah.
Like, not
Whoever
survives.
survives.
Whoever's there at the end,
Yes.
whoever doesn't want to leave.
It is Squid Game.
Well, okay, so
Yes.
you've just given away the big thing,
Yeah.
the big conversation around Beast Games, because this is the biggest and most expensivest game show there has ever been. It's 1,000 contestants, and the prize is $5 million.
Okay.
Although there is a twist at the end, which I may as well spoil, or am I not going to spoil? Do you spoil a game show?
No.
No?
I mean, we spoil everything else we talk about. I don't know why
Okay.
we'd reserve not spoiling for Beast
Okay,
Games.
so the kind of twist at the very end when they get down to the final 6.
Yeah.
He presents them with a coin. What?
Do we spoil Beast Games? Is there no line? Go on, sorry.
You animal! You beast! He kind of reveals a coin and he says, one of you has the opportunity to flip this coin. If you succeed, we'll double it to 10 million.
Right.
And if you fail, you leave. You're out of the
Okay.
competition.
All or nothing.
All or nothing.
Double
exactly.
or nothing.
Double or
Yeah.
nothing. Yeah. I think that's, like they said, it's the most money...
The biggest bet.
Yeah, biggest
Yeah,
bet
yeah.
on a coin toss in history. This show was...
They clearly haven't seen No Country for Old Men.
Oh, yeah, that's very true, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, then again, do you think that man's life is worth more than 10 million?
Considering it's that man, I'm
Yeah.
ashamed to hear you say that.
Okay.
Because you like that man.
I do
a lot.
like that man.
Yeah.
I'm just in universe.
You can't put a price on a human. It's like, is he? Is he worth 5 million?
Is he that? He's just
I mean, he owns land and a gas station. He
yeah.
must be doing all right.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the show has broken multiple Guinness World
Okay.
Records. I don't know the extent of like how many, but many, many, many.
But
Guinness
presumably
World
all
Records.
those records are biggerest, and mostest, rather than
Yes.
bestest.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. It's most money. It's most this. It's
Yeah.
most that. It's not best game show or anything like that.
No, but like, I don't know, because like Breaking Bad's in there for being the best rated TV. Do you know what I mean? Anything that demarcates quality. It's
Yes.
no, more money went into it, more, yeah.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, so it's 1,000 contestants and eventually the prize is 10 million.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people have said, well, this is like disgusting because Mr. Beast and by extension of Amazon have basically looked at Squid Game and gone, well, let's do that.
Well, they haven't.
Okay, why would you say they haven't?
Because the stakes in Squid Game are life and death.
Yeah, they are.
That's
like
the principle.
Yes,
Factor.
that is the big
Yeah.
difference
Yes.
between the two. Is they don't die in Beast games; they
No.
just go home.
Yeah, preferable.
Yeah. But there are other, like, I think people are saying this, that it's more of a thematic. There are more thematic similarities between the two.
Well, the idea of people with money pitting people that don't have money against each other, kind of thing.
Yeah, well, thematic and aesthetic is like, it's obviously all of the contestants, they
Yeah.
have like numbers on them, and there's some of the people that run the games like are dressed.
Yeah.
They don't look like the Squid Game people, but their outfit kind of
Evokes it.
Yeah.
I presume it's named after Squid Game, yeah? That Beast Games is a nod to Squid Game.
I don't know if that's
Okay.
intentional or not.
Because obviously there's loads of blah blah games,
Yeah.
so I don't know. But obviously Squid Game is the big new
Yes, definitely.
gauntlet thing,
Yeah.
isn't it? But okay.
Yeah, but like people, so I've seen people say that in the same way that Squid Game's excess is a critique on capitalism.
Yeah.
Whereas in Beast Games, it feels like the point of the excess is excess. It's the spectacle of it. It's the
Well, yeah.
yeah. Look, it's it's $10 million and it's 1,000 people and there are helicopters and monster trucks and private islands.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Look at all this stuff.
Yes.
And so people are kind of grossed out by so much capitalism in one place.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, so like, I'm a fervent capitalist.
Yeah.
But yet, somewhere like Las Vegas does make me feel sick.
Yes.
There is too much. Wolf of Wall Street, there is
Yeah.
too much of it.
Well, that's the thing. There's like a private island is like one of the side prizes in this.
Okay,
show,
well,
yeah.
maybe I would agree. I don't know. But I mean, we live in a world that young people are very anti-capitalist, theoretically.
Yes.
And vocally, if not actually. So there's that. But, I mean, one's a game show, one's a scripted drama that's making a social point.
Yeah.
The other's a game show that, it's inviting people that want to see spectacle.
Yes.
That's what he did on his YouTube thing, was
Yeah.
accruing followers and money by staging stunts, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
There's no overlap, really.
No. Well, I think the other thing that I've seen mentioned
Yeah.
is, this is kind of the more thematic thing, is that it feels in Squid Game, the games are sort of engineered to bring out the worst in people. The idea being
Yeah,
the
Lord
more
of the Flies.
the more
Yeah.
ruthless you are, more brutal you are, the better chance you have of succeeding at the games. And there's a component of that in Beast Games as well, because most of the games are basically geared towards you. It's geared towards people trying to convince other people to leave the competition.
Okay, is it like a mass Golden Balls? Do you ever see that?
Yeah, do you know what?
Jasper Carrot?
I was thinking of Golden Balls a little bit, because like the first episode, it's basically set in this big room and everyone's standing on these like squares. And when you're eliminated, it like opens up and you fall through the floor.
Right.
Never to be seen again.
Right.
Though presumably that person just went home.
Yeah, presumably onto just some comfortable...
onto like a mattress or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, the whole episode, it's like, right, you're all in rows. And so someone from each row has to eliminate themselves. And if you're in the last 3 rows of people, the last 3 people to do it, everyone in that row gets eliminated.
Okay.
So the first half of the show is geared to how can we get rid of as many people as possible as fast as possible.
Right, yeah,
So it's not really...
Cull.
Yeah, exactly. It's culling.
Like Squid Game, where it's just the first, when they have to cross the thing that turns around and...
Yeah, exactly. So it's not really until about like halfway through the show that you actually start to get to know any of the contestants.
When it fine-tunes the...
Yeah. That's around about the time where you start to... Like, people start to develop personalities,
Right.
and you can see that, there are some people that are playing honestly, and there are some people that are teaming up and exploiting other people. And yeah, I think that's... A lot of people have responded negatively to that it feels like the show is geared towards bringing out the worst in people for entertainment purposes.
It's just a bit of fun, isn't it?
Well,
It's just a bit of fun. I mean, I haven't seen it. I don't know, but just from everything you're saying, it's like... It's that vague social experiment game show thing where it's... Yeah, can we make people turn on each other in a completely innocuous setting?
yeah.
A safe setting where we can explore human psychology, have a bit of fun with human psychology, where the stakes are, you just don't win $10 million that you would never have had anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems like a really silly thing to complain about.
It's funny because you brought up Golden Balls a moment ago. To those that don't know, because most people wouldn't, I don't think. It's not, it hasn't stood the test of time, has it?
Well, certainly not outside the UK. If anyone is listening outside the UK,
yeah, exactly.
You're not going to know what it is.
Oh, it's basically just like this was like a lunchtime, maybe tea time game show.
Yeah, tea time. Yeah.
The idea being that it's just like a game show where I think you just answer questions. Or
I don't remember anything before the last bit.
Yeah, the reason we brought it up is because the last bit is you've got the final two people, and it's one of those game shows where you get like new contestants every episode.
Yes, yeah.
And there's a prize pot that has been accumulated, and the last two people can decide whether they want to split the prize pot, or whether they want to steal the prize pot.
Yes.
And I think the rules are basically like if you both split, then you split.
You split.
If one splits and one steals, the stealer gets the prize pot. If you both steal, no one gets the money. So it becomes a case of they have to negotiate with each other, the contestants.
Yes, and lie to each other.
Yeah, you have to convince the other person, like, either I am genuinely going to split it, or you have to convince them you're going to split it when you're actually planning to steal.
There's one, I cannot remember how it unfolds, but one really good, like, he's obviously studied the psychology of it.
Yeah.
He goes on and he says something that, like, completely unlocks the game.
Okay.
I can't remember what it is, but years ago I saw a clip of a guy going, right, okay, I'm going to do steal.
Yeah.
And that's the beginning of it. And then they end up splitting it. I can't remember how they get from A to B, but I remember being like, oh, that was really fascinating how he did that.
Okay.
But it's basically just like, do I believe this person?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and so the majority of the Beast Game games are that, basically.
On a grander scale.
Yeah. Like there's an episode where, I think it's when they're in the final 10, Mr. Beast is like, right, here's $1 million. This isn't part of the 10 million, this is just an additional $1 million. You all get to decide how you're going to split that money between you.
Right.
But we'll do it one at a time. So someone will come out, and then the next person, and then the next person. And then I think like the first person takes their share, which is what, like 100,000, 10,000 of $1 million. And then the next person takes basically everything that's left.
Right.
So no one else has like that much money to split between them. And like they make like that person ends up like they're in the hut like crying and they feel really guilty.
Right.
But yeah, I mean that's what the games are geared to do. Yeah.
Again, it's just like the stakes are. I mean, having that much money it changes your life, obviously.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just like this is a safe terrain to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
No one's getting hurt. You know, like, oh, he's a bastard. It's like Come Dine With Me when that guy is like, you gave me the lowest score, you fucks. It's like that. It's not going to ruin his life.
No.
I don't know. But I mean, God, just to think how much has changed in the last 20 years when Big Brother was like the biggest thing on TV, and that was just exploiting people's weaknesses and just deprivation, just taking things away from them, driving them to insanity, into conflict. You know,
well, I mean, there's a streak of exploitation through all
of reality television. Of course, there is,
and there is an element of, I don't want to say hypocrisy, because there are certainly things to be critical about with Beast Games.
Yeah.
I think because of the sheer scale of the show, and because of the fact that this guy is like a YouTuber, and all of his like co-hosts and friends are yes men.
Yes,
that just go along with everything that he says anyway.
Sure.
And have no charisma, like not an ounce of charisma between them.
It's the tech titans becoming A-list celebrities.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like they weren't meant to be public people.
No, exactly. No. Yeah. There is kind of an element. Like I don't think the show was run the best. There are kind of accounts of like, people were kind of injured behind the scenes. And the living conditions weren't great. I think the crew was non-union, and they were working excessive hours. There was like I read an article saying that at one point one of the sets flooded, and they were told to keep working even though there was like electrical cables that were almost underwater.
That's separate stuff.
Yeah, there is stuff to be critical about.
Yes.
Like even if you look at Mr. Beast himself, the host, like he is not built to be in front of a camera, even though unfortunately that is his career.
Yes.
Like, when you're on YouTube, you have to do all that stuff yourself. But him, like, it doesn't work.
No.
Because he sounds so flat when he's talking.
Yeah, he's the Wozniak, not the Jobs.
Yeah, exactly. And he's one of those people where, like, when he smiles, his mouth does, but his eyes don't.
I have seen that. I've seen him smile, with a kind of a dead expression.
Yeah, you can tell, like, there's something inauthentic about.
You have that much money,
expression.
just like, how could anything like what can bring me joy now? Like, I bought islands. Like, what else is there?
Exactly. But there's a component of Oh yeah, I was going to say there's not a component of hypocrisy because I don't want to say that.
Yeah.
But yeah, while there are things to be critical, there are things to be critical about with Beast Games. There are like other reality shows that are big on TV at the moment that are also incredibly exploitative and kind of thrive off showing people at their worst, like shallow, superficial people at their worst. That I don't feel like they get the same level of criticism.
Love Island. I mean,
they're actually beloved shows.
Yeah,
really,
like Love Island, a show that like we hate.
Yeah,
that's the kind of reality we hate. But then I'm sure a lot of people that would be criticizing Beast Games are fans of Love Island, like ironic but actually not ironic fans of Love Island.
It just kind of puts me in mind of like I know people like this, and I think you've met people like this. I can't speak to whether this is a universal phenomenon.
Yeah,
but there are people. They're usually like younger women, like university age up to like their early 30s, who are very like, oh, capitalism is like a terrible thing.
Sure.
I only shop local. Like even the thought of buying like a jumper from Asda is like, oh, I'm giving money to the man.
Organic.
Yeah. There should be no such thing as billionaires and all this kind of stuff.
Yes.
But they'll go to Disneyland 2 or 3 times a year.
Of course.
And the plastic mecca of capital excess.
I can't remember what we talked about recently, but they portray their admiration for it in wanting it for themselves. We talked about a film or something, but it was
something like that.
Similar areas that they hurl abuse at these people. It's like, no, but it's just because you want what they have. I would recommend to anyone that doesn't like Beast Games, stop buying things off Amazon.
Yeah. I mean, you already, in the last episode, you called for us to abandon Amazon.
That was a protest.
Yeah.
And have the courage of your convictions. If you think it's something worth protesting, don't buy anything off Amazon.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where I'd be curious to see what the division of cost was between Mr. Beast and Amazon.
Because he was doing them the favour, not they weren't doing him the favour.
Yeah.
Gone are the days where, like, legacy media, if you like, even though Amazon isn't legacy media, but legacy media still has that kind of prestige that we still haven't attached yet to podcasts and to YouTubers and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, like, I fall into that, and I long for that in a way. But, like I listened to recently to a podcast between Louis Theroux and Sean Evans, who's the guy behind Hot Ones.
Oh, yeah.
And they were saying, like, people are all saying to me, oh, when are you going to get your own show, like, proper show? He's like, Hot Ones is seen by dozens, like, not dozens more, like, dozens scale more, dozen times as many people as watch, Jimmy Kimmel. Or
oh, God,
it's ridiculous numbers.
Yeah, like, when there's a big film coming out or someone wants to promote something, Hot Ones is usually, like, a first port of call for them. Like, they even did, when Puss in Boots The Last Wish came out, they even did, like, a version with Puss in Boots.
Right.
Or animated character. They animated him into Hot Ones.
Right.
So it is recognised by legacy media as, like, a legitimate advertising mechanism.
Yeah. My point being that, Mr. Beast, though, some might see it as, oh, now he's graduated from YouTube to Amazon. But no, I don't know why he agreed to it. Presumably they were like, just do what you do, we'll foot half the bill. Yeah, I don't really know, because he's like done interviews since it came out, and he said, like, I lost a lot of money doing that show. Sure.
Because I gave a lot of money away. Because, like, not just, like, the fact, like, the prize pool, but also the extra money he was giving away, because, like, he kept, like, bribing people to leave, like, on the show now. This is, like, behind the scenes thing. And some people took those bribes, obviously. And then there are also moments where during the show, like, a big QR code will come on screen and it'll go, Vodafone or T-Mobile are giving away £1,000 to whoever's watching right now. Scan the code now.
Right.
So, like, they gave away loads of money, and I think they built, like, a city. But it's like for, like, one of the episodes, and everything.
I haven't seen it. Like, so far, if I'm gonna have a problem with it, it sounds like it would be pumping money into it over doing something clever.
Yeah,
like just making it big and expensive rather than clever. Which might be the case, I don't know. It can be both, but it might just be one over the other. I mean, someone who's made that much money, I know you don't want him to exist, but if he's giving away that much money, like, what do you want him to do with his money? He has a game show now where he's just telling people, leave and I'll give you like $100,000. Like, what do you want the man to do? And like, people would say, oh, build water wells in Africa. But then you do that.
Oh, he's literally doing that.
And that's it. You do that, and then you're called, a poser, and you're just doing it for the attention.
Yeah.
There's so much cynicism coming from a bit of a cynic.
Well,
that's the thing. I'm not actually a cynic. Okay. I'm really not. I always say I'm a romantic that's always disappointed, right? And that comes across as cynicism.
Right.
I'm not a cynic. Like, in some ways, I suppose, yes. But with things like that, when people go, oh, they're just doing it for that, I kind of go, well, let's say he is. Does it matter? the effect it's having on the world. Like he's doing it, isn't he?
Yeah.
Bill Gates, like all the money that he's put into charities and all that. If he's doing it to look good, to save his soul for the ills of the filthy lucre he's accrued, who cares?
Yeah.
It's doing good in the world.
Yeah,
like, what does it matter?
Yeah.
Everything's selfish ultimately anyway. So, fuck off.
No, but I do think you kind of hit the nail on the head there. I was just saying, like, on the podcast, he said that in the wake of the success of Beast Games, I think some other YouTubers have had their shows commissioned now.
Right.
So this might start like an
exodus from...
Yeah, well, no, because like people were jumping over from YouTube to doing like film and TV before this.
Yeah, of course.
But it sounds like...
there'll always be outliers, but this might be the Last of Us, as it were, of...
Yeah, it sounds like...
Of this trend.
Yeah, like people are actually trying to get projects off the ground now.
Yeah.
And those projects are starting to get off the ground because of Beast Games.
Yeah.
So even if this show over time and in the culture will be seen as like a disgusting thing, it might allow good things to exist because of it.
Yes.
But yeah, you hit the nail on the head by saying like it's not a clever show.
Okay.
Like they've pumped all of this money into it, and when you take away all of the games, which are basically like social experiments, you know, I think there's like half an episode where the groups of 3 people, they're locked in a cube for 5 hours, and within those 5 hours they have to decide who's going to leave the competition.
Right.
But while they're in that cube, they can have anything they want.
Okay.
It's like people are like ordering pizzas, and I think someone might bring in like a horse at one point.
Right.
They have a TV, so they're just like watching stuff on the TV, like
a horse.
I might be wrong about the horse, but there's definitely pizza. There's definitely television.
One thing I don't want in a cube is a horse. That's contained.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll take the pizza.
Yeah, take
which
the
looks
pizza.
like a horse. No.
Yeah, when you take all of those games out, what you're left with are kind of like, you know, we'll do a sack race. We'll like, oh no, there is one where they pull a monster truck. That does have a bit of spectacle to it. But it's like, oh, we'll do a sack race, or we'll have a quiz, or we'll do. So they're kind of like very small, very inexpensive like things. There's not much where it feels like they're using the spectacle to their
I like
advantage.
That. It just shows like the budget in real time. It's like the first thing is on an island. We bought an island for this next one. Let's have a quiz.
Yeah, a quiz in a room.
Yeah, just keep things.
In fact, the final
frugal.
When they are down to the last 2, the final game, it's actually very Golden Balls because there are 10 suitcases.
All right.
And one of them has the check in it.
Okay.
And the other person
like deal or no deal, Golden Balls.
Yeah.
Sort of
and one of them has to mix it up, and the other person has to guess where it is.
Right.
And it's funny as well because kind of not the irony of Squid Game, because I guess like the fact that the main character wins is probably helping them make a point. But the nicest guy in Squid Game wins Squid Game, doesn't he? And in this competition, there are plenty of people that are manipulative and trying to get people out, and people that are backstabbing and doing all sorts of things. And like the guy who wins, like when like in the penultimate episode, I think when Mr. Beast is finally like interviewing them, so we finally get to know them. He's like, so what are you going to do with the money? And he's like, oh, my son has this rare disease that has no cure, so we're going to pump it into research. And
that's lucky, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, oh, that guy won, actually.
A bloke, just, bear.
Did you say bear?
I just said beer in a southern accent. Bear.
What are you going to do with them? I'm going to buy a bear.
I like just says bear.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with the money? Doesn't I'm not going to buy a bear, not a bear. What are you going to do with the money? Bear.
Bear. Bear what? Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah. I am rooting for this guy. Yeah, I guess ultimately, I just kind of found it a fascinating watch. I didn't have many issues with it in terms of like, you know, philosophical issues, if you will. Right. You can definitely tell that the show is not the best version of what it's trying to be. It basically does just look like his YouTube videos.
Okay.
It uses the same font, the production values, while obviously like, you know, they've built all this stuff. Just like the way that it's filmed and edited, it feels like a YouTube video.
If anything, it just sounds like it's going to drive people towards the original content.
Probably.
You know, one big advert.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, it was just kind of fascinating. Because, the first half is spectacle, and then the second half is, like, it becomes a different show halfway through.
No part of me was ever, I kind of knew what it was, no part of me was ever really compelled to watch it. But I think it is, a good show to talk about in terms of, it's a newsworthy show.
Yeah.
So to talk about it on that level, rather than just, like, is it any good?
Yeah.
No, it's like, it was a cultural moment.
Yeah. I think the episode, there's 10 episodes, and they're like an hour each, which is a bit much.
For a game show, yeah.
Yeah, especially since it's not a case of, round 1 is episode 1, round 2 is episode 2. They want you to come back, so there's cliffhangers, which means they'll just end in the middle of a game, and they'll pick up right where they left off.
I suppose I mean, I don't know how long his videos are on YouTube, but I suppose the thinking was, if we're going to do this, they have to be an hour long.
Yeah.
Like, get your money's worth sort of thing, you know?
Yeah.
How long are his videos on average?
I don't know what his average length is, but they heavily truncate time.
Okay.
You know, I think
but they're not like, not every video is like an hour long.
Oh, God, no.
Overproduced. It's like a 10-minute thing, is it? Or?
Yeah, like 10, 20 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, like, oh, we're going to keep them in a room for 5 days, but that's 20 minutes of content.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
So
maybe that's the way to do it.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. I don't know if it's a recommendation.
Okay.
But I kept coming back to it, so take that.
I think you've said enough that people who would be interested, like, oh, yeah, okay.
Okay.
Give that a go. I'm quite interested to just experience it. I don't think I'd like it.
Probably not.
But, yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what we achieved there, but like
I think it got some good conversation out of it.
Okay.
Now for my fucking tsunami of content.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sam being biggerer and betterer.
I am the Mr. Beast of this podcast.
Video Village.
Video Village. Exactly. Okay. The first thing I'm going to talk about is called apple cider vinegar.
Okay.
You heard of it?
No. Sounds fun?
No.
Oh.
It's it sounds unpleasant, doesn't it? Apple cider vinegar. Yeah. I mean, I hate vinegar, so I suppose if you like it, it sounds the opposite of that.
Yeah.
It's a Netflix show. Basically, last decade, an Australian woman named Belle Gibson built a mini brand empire around claiming that healthy eating cured her cancer.
Okay.
Right? She never had cancer.
Okay.
Okay, it turns out she lied about basically everything over the years.
Right.
Since being outed, she's continued making shit up. A few years ago, she slapped on a headscarf and made a video referring to herself as Sabontu, claiming to have been adopted by the Ethiopian community of Melbourne, which she called a gift from Allah.
Okay.
The president of the Australian Oromo Community Association, that community, said no one knew who she was.
Right, okay.
Which, apart from anything else, is fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
But head-wise, this lady's cooked. And I would say a prototypical product of social media.
Okay.
Making shit up. Look at me, I'm doing this, I'm doing that.
Right.
The lead, Caitlin Diva, there's a spot on Australian accent.
Diva, is it?
Diva, yeah. It's spelled Deva, but
right.
it's pronounced Diva.
Okay.
She is blessed and cursed with the perennial appearance of youth. To me, she essentially looks the same as she did in Justified. Do you remember her in Justified?
I don't know.
Loretta was her name. She grew weed. She was like a teenage girl that was adopted by Mags Bennett. Anyway, if you don't
so that would have been second season then?
But she recurs until the end.
Okay.
Yeah. She's only 28 now, so we'll see, but she has that quality of the Chalamet thing of looking back way forever.
Yeah.
She auditioned to play Ellie in The Last of Us. She's going to be Abby in season 2.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. Or to say she'd been a much better choice than Bella Ramsey.
Yeah.
It's a mildly, superficially anarchic true-life drama. The show opens with Diva saying to camera, Belle Gibson's not been paid for this, and they keep reminding you of that.
Okay.
Narration and perspective flits between different characters that were affected by Belle Gibson. Another character tells us, literally, I'm basically the hero of this story. By the way, that hero is a black woman that, when trying to expose Gibson, who, don't get me wrong, is vile, refers to her reaction as a river of white tears. These are our heroes, apparently.
Okay.
I saw a feature on Rotten Tomatoes recently, something like 100 films that celebrate black joy. Doesn't that just sound fundamentally off to you? And every other normal person?
Yeah. Like black joy, specifically.
That's what I mean, yeah. Like, long ago we entered Bizarro world with race, but I still think we have to stop sometimes and smell the dead roses. It's like how they'd advertise a minstrel show. Or seeing a happy Negro in
Come
the
and
South.
see the black joy.
Yeah, like, oh, it's a happy Negro. Look, there's some of that black joy. It's always compassionate, but ultimately a condemnation of alternative medicine and homeopathy and all that pseudo-scientific nonsense. Not strongly enough, in my opinion. It focuses most of its energy denouncing Gibson. But there's another character, Miller Blake, who's framed as the good version of Gibson.
Okay.
Still tragically deluded, but sincere. Then when she, of course, dies, there's an aspect of lionization. I think the show is too squeamish and feeble to level significant criticism her way.
Okay.
Blake is played by Alicia Debnam Carey, one of those Ella Purnell types. She's got Ella Purnell eyes. She's based on a real woman named Jessica Ainska, who had all these tumours on her arm, and the doctors wanted to cut it off, but she's not having any of it, opting instead for alternative treatments. There's a scene where she goes to one of those hippie, holistic apothecaries, and she tells the owner that the doctors want to cut off her arm, and the woman's like, oh, I heard that before.
Right, okay.
And just applies some vague black salve to her arm, and it's just fucking infuriating.
Okay.
I have loads of problems with the medical establishment, but this stuff is just next level. Unlike that obsidian goo, the show is given a light sugary coating, but it's not a pleasant world to inhabit. Cancer and wellness and social media and lifestyle blogs and hear me roar and Munchausen syndrome. It's only 6 episodes, but most of them are around 65 minutes long, which is an uncomfortable runtime. It's very mini-seriesy. It'll probably be nominated for a few awards, but it won't be remembered. It's prime copper age material. Competent, but ultimately non-essential.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to picture it based on what you've told me.
Okay.
It's tricky.
Yeah, the show is quite, you can't get a hold of it. There's nothing kind of iconographic about it. You know what I mean? It slips through your fingers, the show does.
Well, I mean, I don't know what apple cider vinegar is referring to specifically, but I mean, that sounds like the kind of title where...
It's like one of the recipes for one of the...
Okay, all right. I mean, yeah, it's just like it's one of those titles where you think, oh, well, I'll remember what the show is at the very least. You know? There'll be something iconic about...
Yeah, I know, it has a kind of punchy title, but every year there's a few miniseries that, again, like they might be nominated for awards, they get well-reviewed, and then no one ever remembers them, and they'll never come back up in conversation, and this is one of those shows.
Okay, all right.
So I don't recommend it.
Okay.
Bridget Jones, Mad About the Boy. Have you seen any...
This another Bridget Jones film?
Do you not know? Have you seen any of the Bridget Jones films?
I haven't seen any of them, but like I feel like years ago there was a Bridget Jones film
Bridget Jones's Baby 2016.
Yeah, where it was like, oh, we haven't made a Bridget Jones film for quite a while, so this is like an event thing.
That was a decade, and this is another decade.
Okay. Yeah. Is that what they do with Bridget Jones?
No, well, the first one and the second one, there's a 3-year gap.
Okay.
And then a 12-year gap, and now a 9-year gap.
Right.
So, yeah, this is the 4th in the series. I've seen them all, but I can't claim any intimate knowledge. The first 2, at least, were riffs on Jane Austen novels. The first one is the best, and it remains the best, that much I can say. I only saw the first one properly in the last couple of years, and while one could see its strengths, it's definitely a chick flick.
Okay.
And that's perfectly fine. The original novel, which came out of a series of columns, has been credited with starting the chick lit movement.
The chick what?
Chick lit movement.
Oh,
literature for women.
Yeah.
I did a tiny bit of reading up on the publication history, right? And apparently, when the 3rd novel was being printed, it accidentally combined sections of the book with David Jason's autobiography.
Right, okay.
Which is both appropriate to the character of Bridget Jones, just clumsy,
yeah,
and also reveals a vulnerability in the universe I never thought existed.
Okay.
I didn't know that was possible. How can you do that? How can a publishing company do that? Anyway, at the start, you might well think they're all a bit too old to be doing this. Renee Zellweger is 55 now. The character isn't far behind. Do we still want to see the trials and tribulations of her love life? Turns out yes, basically.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, so despite the surgical work Zellweger had done in the interim, which could conceivably pervert the awkward, accident-prone relatability of Bridget, she still feels like her. And when you realise the context is that she's a widow, and that the film's basically about living with grief and moving on, and the next phase of life, you settle into it. There's just something about that character and her performance that makes you care.
Okay.
Hugh Grant pops up a few times. Obviously, was in the first 2.
Yeah.
Maybe the 3rd one, I don't know. And he has just become a pleasure to watch on screen. Once again, playing against rep and into his age. So, in the first Bridget Jones especially, he's the cad. He's like the prick who it's her boss, she fancies him, they have a torrid love affair, and then she finds out he's a fuckboy, basically.
Okay.
And then that becomes a parody of that, essentially. Right. You know, where he's like this wanker that dates like girls 20 years his junior.
Okay.
All that kind of thing. And Colin Firth was the man she should have been with, sort of thing. But now he's the babysitter the kids call Uncle, who develops a heart murmur, rather than the womanizer he used to be.
Yeah, okay.
Emma Thompson also pops up, and she also has that quality of never being boring, with a biting wit and sharpness unique to her. It's an eminently easy watch. It's sweet and good-hearted and charming. People who like the other films will like this too. It's too long, but it's better than any reasonable expectation would allow. I liked it more than I thought I would. And the proof in this pudding... There's a scene where Leo Woodall, who's her toy boy, young guy, jumps into a swimming pool to rescue a small dog, and all of the women and the men gawp at him as he emerges and takes his shirt off, you know.
Yeah.
And it's the kind of film that objectifies men, where if the response was, well, it's the girl's turn, you'd be like, yeah, fair enough. Have fun.
Right, okay.
Do you know what I mean? Whatever. Enjoy yourselves. It has that full Monty quality of universal likability.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? It's not that feminist, like, oh, what's up? You go, yeah, go on. Have a hen night. Do you know what I mean?
So is that consistent across all the Bridget Jones films?
It just fosters goodwill.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I like these people. It's not a men-hating kind of thing. It was just nice.
Okay.
And so I actually would recommend it.
Okay.
But you probably should see the others first.
But yeah, well, I was going to say, can you speak to the quality of the others? Like, do you know if this is like better or worse than any of them?
The third one is decent. The
Yeah.
second one's not very good at all.
Okay.
The first one is the best one.
Okay.
It remains the best one. But I did like this one. And I don't have a storied relationship with the franchise. Like I said, I only saw the first one last year, maybe,
Yeah.
for the first time. But I enjoyed it.
Okay.
The Gorge.
Yeah, I didn't get round to this, but I'm aware that it's a thing that exists.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay. Well, this is a science fiction, action, horror, romance film from Scott Derrickson. And the romance bit is the one to stress.
Why is that?
Well, let me explain the setup first.
Okay.
So, Miles Teller is a soldier, kind of a mercenary now, and he's hired by Sigourney Weaver to man a watchtower on one side of a gorge.
Uh-huh.
And
Is it the Gorge, by any chance?
it's the eponymous gorge.
Okay.
And, working for the West. And on the eastern side, they never say where it is. It's kind of vaguely Eastern Blocky.
Okay.
Maybe Ukraine, maybe Bulgaria, maybe Georgia, whatever. And the other side also has a watchtower manned by someone from the east. And they're not told what's in the gorge, but there's something in it that might try and get out. And you have to stop whatever's in there from getting out.
Okay.
So he's dropped in, doesn't know where he is, he's blindfolded, all that kind of business. And he goes there and then has to commence his duty. And on the other side of the gorge is Anya Taylor-Joy, playing the eastern counterpart.
Oh, well, that doesn't feel very fair.
No. Well, firstly, incidentally, at night, the gorge is surveilled by sweeping spotlights, right?
Yeah.
Considering what emerges, which is essentially hell demons,
Okay.
you might want to invest in just constant floodlights, rather than like, oh, hang on, I'm going to wait for it to come back around. Yeah, this is another film where Miles Teller conducts military operations in an ambiguous country, but for different reasons. Here, it's not to avoid controversy, it just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you alluded to, it's not particularly sensible for the counterpart on the eastern side to be Anya Taylor-Joy.
Someone that you would be constantly looking at.
Not to be all anti-feminist,
Yeah.
I would dream of no such thing. But yeah, shouldn't there be someone the other soldier wouldn't be tempted to look at all the time?
Yeah, exactly.
So the film has a pretty pronounced 3-act structure. The first act, the first hour, is them falling in love with each other from a distance.
Okay.
Then not from a distance. There's kind of almost maybe something to that. Near wordless storytelling.
Yeah.
There's a bit where he drums.
Oh, well, you gotta have that.
Because it's Miles Teller.
Yeah.
It can get a bit goofy.
Is there a
and
bit where
corny.
she... Oh, what's an iconic Anya Taylor-Joy thing? Does she get seduced by a goat at any point?
Boo. That's the.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Seduced by a goat, or I don't know. Do you consider Miles Teller the greatest of all time? Because if not, then no, she's not seduced by a goat.
Okay.
It can get a bit goofy and corny, but it's fine. There's also a scene where he showers and she moves his clothes so she can see him run to get them naked.
All right.
And I invite you to consider the ramifications of the alternative.
Okay.
Or, if you're not feeling political, just the wonderfulness. The second act sees them descending into the gorge, which is functionally hell, Inspired by T.S. Eliot's The Hollow Men, an inspiration that is very much flagged. It's infected with these tendrils sprouting forth from the mutation at the centre of it all. It reminded me of that scene from Spielberg's War of the Worlds, where the tripods have spewed out their waste and turned the land into a sanguinary Hades.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
all the blood
yeah.
tendrils. But Hades, that's in there too. Orpheus' descent into the underworld. The creature design is reminiscent of the Green Knights, the angry trees. This section of the film is the weakest. It becomes certainly less classy, but slightly tackier. Not a million miles away from straight to DVD, but higher end.
Oh, right.
The writing also becomes very B-movie and genre-heavy. The aesthetic of the gorge brings to mind things like Ghost Rider and Constantine. It's more video game adjacent, actually. It's like Silent Hill's in there, Doom, Gears of War, and I imagine Diablo.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Diablo, but if it's in that family.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. And then they escape into the third act by using this car tank contraption thing to scale the cliff face. And as they climb, they have to stop the creatures from swarming, shooting and batting them off the thing, which cemented the video game feel. That felt like a level,
Yes, yeah.
In this day and age, the first act could also be part of the game. You know what games are like now.
Yeah.
I think it actually wouldn't be a half bad game. As they recuperate, Anya Taylor-Joy refers to the gorge as a waking nightmare, and Miles Teller says it's the closest to hell he ever wants to get. It's a shame they didn't let the glaringly obvious facsimile speak for itself.
Right.
The third act is all-out action, them versus the people sent to kill them, spearheaded by Sigourney Weaver, which is legacy casting akin to her in The Cabin in the Woods and Paul.
Yeah.
They nuke the gorge, killing Weaver and company in the process, partly to the sounds of All Along the Watchtower, which one should have expected.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's okay.
I was going to say, does it earn it at the very least?
Yeah, it's the end of the film.
Okay.
Like, all right, fine. It's a strange little film with an odd tone and a curious blend of elements. It's important to know it's half a romance, because I can see people going in expecting balls out genre, and it's not that.
Okay.
It's a bit mad, which was interesting if not totally effective, and it ends. There's no franchise here.
Oh, okay.
Which is always refreshing. It's not entirely a failure, it's not entirely a success. So it's half a recommendation, half not.
Okay. Which half?
Yeah, that one.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
And Hard Truths. Know about this?
Don't think so.
Okay. It's a Mike Leigh film.
Ah, that'd be why.
Yeah, I suppose so. So he is placed squarely at one end of the spectrum, at whose other end sits Zack Snyder.
Okay.
Nobody does what Mike Leigh does like Mike Leigh.
Okay.
It stars Marianne Jean-Baptiste as Pansy, who is the angriest woman in the world.
Right.
Who would vie for the angriest person in cinema. One of her rivals would be Eddie Marzan Scott from Happy Go Lucky, which is another Mike Leigh film.
Okay.
You start by thinking of her as an utterly miserable cow, but as the film proceeds and the shields somewhat descend, you settle on just utterly miserable.
Okay.
Considering her proclivity for conflict with random members of the public, seriously, she has female privilege. Like, a man would get thumped if they behaved the way she does. The name Pansy is a lovely irony. Going back to Happy Go Lucky, the protagonist in that was called Poppy, who was the happiest person in the world. I wonder whether there was a conscious connection there between the characters.
Oh, okay.
Lee's films contain a curious mixture of true kitchen sink, this is a documentary naturalism, and archetypal embodiments. Much of the humour comes from this. Here, it's bitter dyspepsia. She doesn't just have it, she somehow is it.
Right.
Again, I would point you to Marzan and Happy Go Lucky as an avatar of unadulterated fury. The dialogue is rich and idiosyncratic, as you might expect. We'll never know how direct Lee's contribution is to producing great performances, whether he ekes them out, whether he concerns himself with minutiae, or whether it's only through adhering to the practice of immensely close collaboration between director and performer, for which he's famous. But he has a knack for getting them out of people. His films contain the career-best performances of many of the actors therein. He clearly fosters a fertile environment for excellence. This is no different. It's a showcase for Marianne Jean-Baptiste. She's funny and infuriating and tragic. Her characterization is rich and layered. I feel like I know exactly who this woman is.
Okay.
And in such a short space of time too. It's only an hour and a half. Yet you get a pretty complete picture. Hers was the first truly excellent performance of the year for me.
Oh, right.
And she has been robbed of an Oscar nomination.
Okay.
Pansy's relationship with her sister Chantal, played by Michelle Austin, is at the heart of the drama. Austin is very good. After we've sat through quite a lot of hostility from Pansy, there's a scene where she acquiesces to a hug from Chantal. It produced such a feeling of relief.
Right.
Similarly, there's an epic breakdown purge at one point. It's not a long film, but she's so negative. To see it all come out was very cathartic. Mike Leigh has claimed otherwise, but I believe it's a post-COVID film. Marianne Jean-Baptiste herself has said that she believes the lockdown exacerbated her character's temperament, if not created it.
Okay.
Of course, beneath all the anger is profound depression. We're never outright told where that comes from, and it's not ambiguous for ambiguity's sake. It's just that people don't casually talk about the deep origins of their pain in real life. That's not what we do.
No, I mean, some people don't even know.
Exactly, it's
that,
just there.
yeah.
But there are more than enough crumbs to put together a biscuit, yeah.
Okay.
Her husband and son bear the brunt of her personality, but they're not blameless victims. They skulk around the house like weary, silent statues. But as Chantal points out, your son's 22 years old, he's a grown man. And in a scene where both families come together for Mother's Day, Chantal asks curtly, that's Pansy's husband, how his mother is, and he full-on blanks her, just ignores her in a silent room. Later on, Pansy puts the flowers that her son bought her for Mother's Day in a vase, leaves the room, and curtly just tosses them outside.
Oh, right.
Which was a stark moment of surprise in this quiet film.
Yeah.
And that's a sign of truly subtle, effective filmmaking. Understatement, you know? There's no arc, no resolution. Like many of Lee's films, it's a snapshot of these lives. Then we move on. A proper filmmaker of the people, and something will be lost when he's gone. I would highly recommend this, but also advise that you take the opportunity to visit or revisit the back catalogue. The highlights of which, for me, for my money, would be Nuts in May, which is a BBC play for today, Secrets and Lies, All or Nothing, Vera Drake, Happy Go Lucky, and of course Naked, which is one of the best films ever made ever.
Right.
Incidentally, I recently rewatched Horace and Pete, which was in large part inspired by Abigail's Party, which is another of Lee's plays for today.
Okay.
And that's a little televisual miracle, so go forth and be nourished.
Right, okay.
It's very good.
So it's very, like, edifying.
Yeah. It's,
drama.
like I said, Zack Snyder on one end, Mike Leigh on the other. So,
Okay.
Okay, a proper film.
Right.
You know? And yeah, hour and a half about this character. And you're like, yeah, I know her. I got a snapshot of that life. Over. Done.
Okay.
Brilliant. High potential. This is a fierce network procedural in nearly every way.
Okay.
But Caitlin Olsen is good as one of those Sherlock Holmes type characters, and it's made a notch above by Drew Goddard's sharp writing. Her characterization isn't a million miles away from Elsbeth, so maybe there's a new era of kooky female detectives.
Okay.
The season finale plays into its strengths by just presenting puzzle after puzzle in a Moriarty type fashion. Name a cliche in this genre and it's there.
Right.
Absent some usuals, so she gets on with the captain, for instance. They don't grow to like each other. But there's a certain comfort in these shows still existing, even if they also feel like they're from a world left behind. ABC is still making shows, how twee.
Yeah.
Nothing to write home about in the end, but it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll talk about the second season of Elsbeth when it's time, right?
Yes.
When that sort of finishes its quite long run in the...
I think it's 20 episodes.
Yeah.
At the moment, we're on 1450.
Yeah, which in the world of modern television, that's like an insane amount of time to run a season of a show for.
Absolutely.
Many shows don't even go for 20 episodes. But yeah, I think that's one of the strengths of Elsbeth, at least for us, isn't it? It's the comfort of that show, isn't it?
It is what it is.
Yeah, the predictability of its format is also almost to its strength.
Yeah, it's rigidly what it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Is this... Because Caitlin Olsen, she's one of the Always Sunny people.
She is.
Does she have a career outside of that, or was this her attempt to have a career outside of that?
I don't know how vast... This is pretty much the first thing I've seen her in. Like, I know she's from It's Always Sunny.
Yeah.
But that's not something I've really watched.
Yeah.
I think this is like a big new kind of thing for her.
Okay.
But I think she is an actress. She's not just like a comedy person, you know?
Yeah.
And she is good in the role.
Okay.
And it's a decent show, but, you know, it doesn't rewrite the...
No, of course not.
Yeah.
But is it one of those things where it's like, if you watch it, you're watching it for her? Or is there like...
Her and the kind of the mystery... It's Sherlock. She's basically Sherlock. It's how she figures things out.
Okay.
It's, you know, I worked this out because that plant over there only grows in spring.
Right.
All that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
you know, she's like an encyclopedia. And it is entertaining. It's like Ludwig or something better.
Okay.
Yeah, that's high potential.
Right.
The Last Showgirl. I think this is the last of my solo reviews.
The last Sam review.
Yes. The Lost Sam Girl. This is a film from Gia Coppola. Yeah, another one. Resultantly, Jason Schwartzman once again pops up for a scene.
Naturally.
The Last Showgirl occupies a subgenre we could call the faded glory drama. It's in there with The Wrestler, and if we go back, Sunset Boulevard.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
They're often vehicles for actors out of their prime to display their dramatic chops and make a comeback. So if you're acquainted, the story arc here is rather predictable, down to the final image. I knew what it would be before the film started.
Okay.
This is the entry in the canon for Pamela Anderson, no pun intended. The Wrestler is really the closest comparison, down to the fractured relationship with the daughter and the naturalistic style. Unfortunately, The Wrestler is superior in every way. If it needed saying, Pamela Anderson is not Mickey Rourke, and the stakes in The Wrestler are life and death. Here it's the closure of her show. Not everything has to have mortal stakes, but if you're of the impression that The Last Showgirl lacked power, that might be why.
Okay.
And I'll come to why the style here is less comfortable than it is cultivated in The Wrestler. Pamela Anderson is fine, but absolutely nothing special. If it wasn't her, it wouldn't have received the plaudits it has. It's just good in comparison.
Okay.
And I have to say, risk of sexism accepted, she still sounds and kind of looks like a bimbo. And by looks, I mean there's a vacuity to her visage.
Right.
She looks just a bit airheaded. Right?
Okay.
I don't mean she's blonde, and I don't mean that.
Yeah, I mean, is that like kind of the point? I don't know if that feeds into the character in the film at all, because I haven't seen it.
Well, with like Mickey Rourke's a wrestler, right? He still has, you know, he has the vestiges of that body. That he's still a wrestler, right? But it, like the muscles now are kind of sagging a little bit.
Okay.
And it's like, oh, this was once a lion that's now kind of, you know,
Yeah.
getting older. And I think a woman in her 50s can accrue a dignity like that was a bimbo like Pamela Anderson. All I'm saying is she still has that bimbo-osity.
Right.
She doesn't seem worldly and wise to me.
Yeah, without like maintaining her youth, are you saying?
No, she's older, and I'll get to kind of her as a figure, but I didn't look at her and go, oh, you were once this, but now, though you're still dolling yourself up, you now have a worldliness. I still just thought, yeah, she's still just a bimbo, really.
Oh, right.
Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it helps with the tragedy of a showgirl in her late 50s, but it doesn't do much for gravitas. I'm not having a go. I have no problem with Pamela Anderson. The press and the public have put her through the ringer. I admire her perseverance. It's just, don't get me wrong, Rocky Balboa always had an inner dignity, but Stallone played him as a dunderhead, but aged into a grace and a certain wisdom. By Creed, he's still dopey, but there's something else there, right?
Yeah.
Anderson may well have like achieved that in life. I'd happily believe that, but it doesn't come across here for me. For others, it clearly has.
Okay.
Jamie Lee Curtis is caked in gold as her ex-showgirl best friend.
Right.
I bought her character. Dave Bautista, with that much hair, he has quite a lot of hair in this.
Okay.
It's hard to take.
Yeah.
So he wanted to branch into dramatic roles. This isn't definitive validation of that impulse. I'm sure he has a compelling performance in him. This isn't it.
I think of all of the wrestlers turned actors that are kind of working at the moment, he's the one that I think has the best chance.
I would agree.
That. Yeah.
Blade Runner.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah. Bautista and Anderson have a history in the film, a romantic history.
Okay.
At first I was thinking, but there's only a 1-year age gap between them.
Oh, right.
And it's just interesting because I associate them with entirely different eras in the culture.
Yeah.
You know? She's 80s, but it's actually early 90s. Like, they're not actually that far apart in reality.
No, yeah.
But it's also another sign of aging. The kind of character depicted in this film, someone whose glory days are behind them, to me, means they were at their peak in the 80s.
Okay.
Like Rourke in The Wrestler. But now it's the 90s.
Yeah.
Soon the noughties. And then Jordan, it will be us.
Okay.
It's very indie, down to the score. It's shot in 60mm, gritty, handheld. They used anamorphic lenses that often create a blur on the edge of the image, which was really distracting and unpalatable. It's like I wasn't wearing glasses.
Right, okay,
yeah,
so it's not...
It didn't work for me.
Okay.
I wasn't a fan of the aesthetic at all. I found it alienating, and not in a Brechtian fashion. And a note unconnected to any other, and as I said earlier, Las Vegas is a pit.
Yeah.
Leaving the film for a second, Anderson's been showing up to events without makeup, which is being hailed as brave and all that, which, fine. The problem is that her, or is that the angle?
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Seeing people, women, just slop it up is, well, expected, but how do you know it's genuine?
I think you speculated a similar thing with Robbie Williams when we talked about Better Man.
Exactly.
He seems to be in this like, his current attitude
persona.
seems to be, his persona seems to be, oh yeah, I was a cunt. I acknowledge that I'm a cunt.
And I'm up for believing it's genuine. It's nice that she's going without feeling the need to plaster herself with makeup.
Yeah.
But it's like, wouldn't that be a good angle as well? A good PR angle, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, women are slopping it up, so maybe there is less cynicism in the world than I thought, and a lot more naivety.
Okay.
Or just wanting to believe.
Yeah.
Not for me. A bit dull, visually unappealing, and ultimately unremarkable. Not a bad film, just a fairly boring one.
All right, because I mean, again, I haven't seen it, but
Yeah.
I have heard it in the culture.
Yes.
People do seem to be liking this.
It's because of Pamela Anderson's dramatic role.
Okay.
She's acting in this. It didn't do it for me.
Okay.
I didn't buy it. It's more the role than the performance.
Right.
It's a type of character, you know, a showgirl in the 50s, they're closing the review. What's she going to do now? She's got a kid that she's, you know, separated from. They have an estranged relationship. It's that kind of role, but not that kind of performance.
Okay.
For me.
All right.
Okay, now for some mutual reviews. September 5th.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a good day, I suppose. It's all right.
Well, not this time.
You know, kids going back to school. It's
Yeah, nice. Well, yeah, so this is about the kidnapping massacre of Israeli athletes.
all right. Yeah. So that September 5th
Yes,
is a bit less cool.
At the Munich Olympics 1972, which is told entirely from the nearby control room of ABC, who had to respond in real time to events.
Yeah.
As such, it is a cabinet thriller, a crisis thriller, and a bottle thriller, right up my street from the off.
Yes.
Basically. It's telegrams and landlines, it's process, things getting done, phone calls, information.
Yeah, I do love like the technology from the era that
Yes.
it's depicting. Just so
Tactile,
yeah, so
stuff.
chunky and yeah.
For me, seeing captions being made, that was really cool. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Oh yeah, when you actually, because yeah, this is like as you said, it's the I don't know if you specified this, but like it's the sports team of ABC.
No, yeah, I was going to get to that, but yeah, it's not the news.
No.
It's because they're covering the Olympics, and so they're the closest to the carnage, and they're kind of the ones who are poised to report
Yeah,
it.
because that's kind of like the sort of thread during the film is that they're
One
not
of the internal.
Yeah, they're not a news team. They're not equipped to cover an event like this, but they're covering it
they're
regardless.
there. Yeah.
And so you actually see they're putting the letters on the screen to kind of superimpose them over the like you actually see that process being
captions
done.
being made.
It's like, oh yeah, this is cool. It's actually like
exactly. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that before.
No,
if I have, I haven't remembered it. Not everyone's chain smoking as they might have been the decade previous.
It still has that like,
but there's typically a fag on the go.
There's hovering smoke in the air.
Yeah, it nevertheless feels like nicotine's always hanging in the air.
Yeah.
You're dropped right into the middle of an operation. It's people doing their jobs in a professional environment, and while there's conflict and a little interpersonal drama, it's not about their personal lives at all.
No, it's very much like, all right, we've got a job to do.
Let's do it.
Let's do the job.
The cast is stellar. John Magara really holds the whole thing together. I like Ben Chaplin. I like Peter Sarsgaard. I like Leonie Benesch, new crush of mine, stay away.
All right.
She was the star of last year's The Teacher's Lounge.
Yes.
In which she was excellent. It was nice to see her doing something with a wider, more international reach and appeal. It's very well written and very well edited.
Well, it feels like it's properly kind of exploring all of the things that are thrown up by this situation. We alluded to it a couple of episodes ago, didn't we? They find out at one point that the terrorists are actually watching their broadcast.
Yes.
And so the terrorists are changing their strategy accordingly to avoid police.
Right.
And so they becomes a thing, it becomes a discussion like, what's our duty of care here?
Complicity,
Yeah, what's our complicity? Because like we're basically giving them the tools to successfully perform their crime,
Right.
but we're not actually involved. We are covering it. It's our duty. Well, that's the thing. Is it our duty to cover this event?
Yes.
That's a conversation.
What are the ethics? How do we cover this?
Exactly, yeah. That's something that's kind of thrown into the conversation.
Yeah.
And it just kind of like seems to cover, like, it's not just like, right, here's the event unfolding. Mm-hmm. It's like, no, what's the duty of the people that are in that situation?
The issues it's throwing up as a result, yeah. Well, the thing is, it's not a big awards film this year. It's done all right, the odd award. Screenplay has been fairly consistent, it's nominated for the Oscar.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have expected to get anything serious, but like the editing should also have been nominated.
Yeah.
Editing and writing, just give it those two.
Was it not nominated for editing?
No, just screenplay.
That's ridiculous to me, because you had to point it out.
Yeah.
What this film does as well is it splices genuine footage with like the film footage, because they're in the control room, and so on one of the TV screens you can see it's not a news broadcaster, but it's the guy that like hosts the sports stuff.
Yeah, he's the newscaster.
Yeah. Well, for the sports, right? Or is he actually a newscaster?
No, I think he might be the actual newscaster.
Oh, in that case.
Yeah.
Ignore that bit. But yeah, it's the actual newscaster.
In the studio reading the news to the camera,
But that's not an actor.
No, that's the guy.
That's the actual guy from that period of time.
Yes.
And so when they're talking to him, and they do have conversations with him, they're conversing with archive footage.
Yeah.
And it's seamless. You never notice.
Absolutely.
Like there's a point where they do cut into the studio, and because it's not the actual guy, they film from behind him.
Yes.
And obviously that's a technique to avoid the fact that it's not the actual guy.
Yeah.
But I didn't realise that's what they were doing. I thought that was just like an aesthetic choice.
You've seen probably versions of it before where you'll see archive footage and then we'll cut to that place and there'll be an actor like as a body double, kind of. But yeah, never like this, where they've properly integrated.
Yeah, it's like a character in the film, because it's not just, again, they don't just cut back to him every now and again.
No,
he's like involved.
There's some historical precedent for it, but I'll come back to that. Yeah, and while it's incredibly propulsive and really does conduct itself like a thriller, capturing the rush and adrenaline of the task at hand, it manages, like you said, to tackle a bunch of different internal themes. So there's the idea of Germany wanting to shake off its history.
That's another big one as well,
present itself as a new liberal bastion, especially considering the last time they had the Olympics, it'd been under Hitler and essentially was racist propaganda. Yeah, there's the ethics of live broadcasting such an event. A dilemma made very literal when they realised, like you said, the terrorists are watching their coverage and acting accordingly.
It's nice as well because it's not just a case of like, right, we've done that theme, now we're going to look at this theme.
No, it'll recur.
Yeah,
it's a symphony.
They all overlap with each other, because when the police find out that they're watching the broadcast, they come into the studio and try to shut it all down.
Yeah.
So there's this sense of like, oh, it's the German government like imposing their...
Right.
Yeah, because I think the woman you mentioned from the Teacher's Lounge is German.
She's German, yeah.
And even she is like, I thought we were past this.
Yes, the Stasi.
The state kind of imposing rule on people. So it even finds a way to get these themes lapping over each other.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it makes you think about media complicity on a more vague level. It's made very literal here, obviously, but it's a very different type of harrowing tale, but I refer you to Don't Fuck With Cats, further examination of this theme.
Oh, right, okay.
How much does the media influence behaviour? And This is pre-24-hour news coverage, of course, pre-9/11. It's a precursor to both in many ways.
It's funny, like there's, again, like they have to negotiate using the satellite to broadcast the footage. Yeah. And it's just like, that seems ridiculous now.
I know, in the digital age. Yeah, it's a precursor to both, and it's ultimately framed as the first event of its kind. It deals with network rivalry, internal division, like you said, this was sports handling a news story, and women in the workplace. And it does it in the best way. It's never didactic. So characters rely on Leonie Benesch to translate a lot, because like you said, she's German.
Yeah.
Early on, Corey Johnson, who is a Paul Greengrass regular, incidentally, and Paul's been known to chart similar territory.
Yes, he has.
Corey Johnson sends her away to do something menial, to get him a coffee or something like that. And then someone tells him, that was the one person you needed. In the very next scene, she's working and he brings her a coffee. Boom.
Done.
That's it.
Yeah.
Sorted, you know? I know the bullet points on the Munich atrocity. I've seen the iconic images, but not much more. And I knew the overall structure of the day. I think it helps to not be too familiar, especially at the end where they're under the impression the athletes have been freed. It doesn't detract if you know what happened, but there's just an added sense of impending doom.
Okay.
Because, yeah, I mean, you can't spoil history. They, for quite a while, they think they've been released. And it turns out, no, they were all killed.
Yeah.
They were massacred. I knew that was coming, so for me, it was like, oh, God. That was the attraction of it. But you know what I mean? Like, for me, it wasn't, yay, it was, I knew it was coming. And so that was the,
it was
the engine driving it.
Yeah,
it was that little thing. So, yes, it is absolutely a bummer. There's no catharsis, and it shouldn't be. When the shift is over, so's the film. And you're left mulling over what it had to say. So, like, they send Leonie Benesh out to the site where the hostages are theoretically going to be released.
Yes.
And then she says, all the shit was happening and we were staring because we wanted to take a picture.
Yeah.
And it hits you, you know what I mean? Good night and good luck sprang to mind watching this. Not just in its depiction of a newsroom and journalists, but using the real-life historical figure to play themselves. In Good Night, it's Joe McCarthy.
Okay.
But they don't interact with it, but they don't have an actor playing McCarthy. We see footage of him, and then they're responding to his pronouncements. Here, it's mostly newscaster Jim McKay, but others too. And I would never turn down an opportunity to recommend Good Night and Good Luck. Similarly, if you're interested in this topic, I'd direct you to Kevin McDonald's One Day in September, which is a documentary about this.
Yeah.
And while it has its problems, Spielberg's Munich too. It's 90 minutes long. Done and dusted. Brilliant.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
I loved it. It's my favourite film so far of the year.
Okay. I do like it. I do like it.
I do like it.
I liked it lots, sir. I like it, Luke. It does feel remiss not to mention the controversy around it.
Oh, God. What, is there a controversy or is it just Letterboxd?
Well, that's the thing. I don't know the scale of it. My exposure to it has been through Letterboxd. So I think I've seen people talk about it outside of that as well, though.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of people seem to be reacting really badly to this.
Because it depicts...
Yeah, because it's...
The idea that Jews can be victims.
Well, that's the thing. It's the Israeli athletes and the terrorists are Palestinians.
Yes.
And so in the current...
That's actually a big part of the film as well, is what do we call them? Are they terrorists?
Yeah.
Like, what do we call them? That language hadn't really been developed.
That is indeed a conversation that's had. But yeah, a lot of people are saying, well, this doesn't present a balanced, nuanced view of both sides.
Of terrorism.
So, like, this film is actually, like, pro-Israeli.
I love
it's
that,
propaganda.
Though. You can always do, Palestinians have their side of the argument or whatever. I want to know in what context, what grievance could you possibly have where the appropriate response is just butcher Israeli athletes at the Olympics. Like, what grievance could you have?
Yeah.
What if you were a slave? Would it be appropriate to do that?
Yeah.
It's a weird response, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I don't want to get into the politics of it, but it's like, if it's like, oh, Palestine, like, attacking Israel. Not the way it happened, but okay, fine. I'm kind of willing to listen to the history of it, but I don't know what context would be necessary to go, yeah, that was ethical, what they just did. You know what I mean? It's a pretty cut and dry. That's why I haven't heard anything about it. And considering Israel's big right now, and I spoke the other day about you can't depict... Have I spoken about it yet, actually? Or it might be a future review.
You're living out of order again.
It's a future review, but it's like, if you have cops on television, they can't be depicted as good.
Oh, yeah.
And if you have Israel on film and television, it can't be depicted as good.
Yeah. At
the moment, that's certainly the case. But considering that's happening, I haven't heard much backlash or like, oh, great, do a film about Israeli victims.
Okay, well, I
haven't heard much of that. So it might just be nutter lefty millennials on the
I'm relieved if that is the case.
Yeah.
I am relieved because I don't think this film deserves that conversation.
No, listen, if you're going to pick a cut and dry case, you'd pick something like this where there was no justification possible to do what they did.
No, in this instance, we don't need to show a balanced view of both sides because one is clearly in the wrong here. But here, like in this story that's being told.
Yeah, well, in general with Israel and Palestine, but
you're just you throwing stuff in there.
Yeah, well, and you just I say it. Not sorry to throw you in there, Joe.
Right.
Throw you under the bus. No, but I mean, this is a story that takes place in the control room of a news. How are we going to go off and explore the Palestinian point of view? Yeah. They're trying to cover a story. We're not seeing... It's not even an Israeli point of view. It's people covering a news story and how the fuck do we do that when this has never happened before? This type of news hasn't existed before. Yeah. That's what it's about, really. The setting, it's the time, and the place. And it happened. You know, it's not like we made up a story where Palestinians kill Jews. Imagine such a thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, but no, this is history.
Yeah, and I'm assuming that it's an accurate. Like,
Yeah,
it hasn't
absolutely.
taken
I mean, they
artistic
used just the
license.
footage.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
So,
if you wanted to prove that
If there's
you were
ever
covering it
doubt.
authentically,
Yeah,
it's the fact that the actual
just using the footage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, it's a recommendation.
It's very good. Yeah. Okay. Dark Man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every time.
Every single time.
Right. This is a story within a story in Captain Underpants, the first epic movie.
Yeah, you had to tell me that. 'Cause
Well,
I don't think the film does.
Listen, my knowing which was, believe me, the result of research.
Okay.
I did not know that. I did not glean that watching the film.
Yeah.
I googled, what is this?
Yeah.
What is Dogman? Is it a...
What is this?
Well, one of the things that fascinates me about it is that it's not a known property,
Yeah.
which these days doesn't really happen. So it's like, is this a kid's TV show? Is it a comic book character? Like, what is this?
Yeah.
And it turns out, it's like this meta fucking dog thing.
A dog man.
A dog
Sam.
man.
Show him
Sorry,
some respect.
my apologies. It's colourful and modern and vibrant and breathlessly fast. Frenzied, really.
Yeah.
Moments of gag reflex. Characters with cute voices saying adult things like, I'm miserable. The startled sounds of Dogman are entertaining.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ricky Gervais shows up. Didn't expect that.
Yeah, as an evil fish.
As an evil fish. Can't say it added much. He laughs a lot.
Yeah.
There is a distinct difference between a fake Gervais laugh and a real one.
Okay.
This was the former.
Yeah.
I don't think older audiences can't enjoy it, but it is operating on a certain frequency.
Oh yeah, this is definitely geared towards a younger audience.
It's really for young viewers.
Yeah.
It struck me as having a TikTok pace. Next thing.
Yeah.
Like ideal for short attention spans.
Yeah.
Which was kind of damning to me. It's like, oh god, is this the way it has to go now? Like kids now, this is what they expect for a pace of a film.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm out of it. It genuinely... People talk about Scott Pilgrim in this way, that if you were above a certain age, it was harder to kind of lock into it.
Yeah.
We were the perfect age for Scott Pilgrim. And now am I just at an age now? It's like when you can hear that frequency only at a certain age.
Yeah.
Am I past the point now where Dogman is anything but like a blur of colours to me? It's like, oh, what's happening, Mildred? You know?
Yeah. Oh no, I'm hanging out with people called Mildred.
Mildred.
I'm clearly old now.
But we're only 30 still. Yeah.
Well, Mildred's had to be 30 at some point.
Of course,
didn't they?
yeah. But, in 1942.
Yeah.
It really wasn't for me. And it's not intended to be. But it's not a bad film. It's done alright financially, isn't it?
I honestly don't know.
I think
don't
I
know what the
checked.
reaction
We
has been.
checked, and it's made its money back, and it's doubled its money, kind of thing.
Okay.
But I don't know if it's a hit. Is it even worth like doing the plot? It's like it's so like weird, isn't it? And just it's a cartoon for kids.
Yeah. No, I think the plot is... Well, yeah, it's a guy who... He gets his dog's head surgically...
Yeah, it's a cop and his dog, and then he dies or something, and he gets the dog's head put on his, so it's now a cop with a dog's head.
Yeah, it's now a dog man.
And there's a villain, voiced by what's his face?
Oh, Pete Davidson.
Yeah, Pete Davidson. Yeah.
Yeah. Who was actually all right in this? I'll give it.
I wouldn't have known.
Yeah,
it's just
I'll give him some.
It's just
credit.
the voice.
But yeah, it's just like, and it's not a villain. This is not an origin story for the villain. Like it's a recurring thing these two have.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's the villain. The villain is just making another evil scheme.
But it's basically he's the lead as well, because obviously Dogman doesn't speak. It is
yes.
So it's not. Don't go in thinking it's like Dogman. No, it's not that. It's a Dogman.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
He makes dog noises.
Yeah.
That is the film. Yeah. So yeah, it's like it's either him with the captain going, "Dogman, I want you to do this," or it's the villain going, "Dogman, I hate you for doing this."
Yes.
But yeah, it's just like, oh, he's just going to make another plan, another evil plan, another contrived evil plan to defeat Dogman that's going to fail. And this one involves him cloning himself.
Yeah.
But the cloning machine creates like a child version of himself.
Yeah, she's got to look after the kid.
So he ends up becoming like a father,
yeah,
basically.
it's the Will Ferrell, what's that, Megamind? Is that, or Despicable Me? Despicable Me.
Is it?
What's that kind of plot, right? Where he accidentally ends up having like a kid and he's got to look after it now.
No, I don't think that's Despicable Me.
It's one of them.
Despicable Me, he adopts the daughters.
Maybe it's that.
And then ends up like genuinely...
It's one of those type films where it's about like, oh, I've got a kid. I'm evil, but I've got a kid now and I've got to raise the kid. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and so like over the course of the film, he ends up developing like a genuine affection for
Yes.
himself, because it's a child version of himself. But the child also likes Dogman, so yeah, like they all end up liking each other.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, it's nice and it's whatever. And it's
and Ricky Gervais goes, ah!
Yeah, he does. Yeah, for a little bit. No, the film is pretty much that, isn't it?
There's nothing else to say.
Yeah, nothing else to it. Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, I thought you would.
Yeah, I didn't. There were just little moments. I think I was kind of similar to you in the sense that it was mostly noise.
Yeah,
that I was happy just kind of being present for.
Yeah,
but there were
it's between like something like Despicable Me and like Paw Patrol in terms of its age, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But there were like occasional moments that broke through the noise that I appreciated. Yeah. Like I said, I pointed out to you, didn't I? I think when the mayor comes in and tells the chief, "You need to fire Dogman because the villain's escaped again." And the chief is like, "Well, that's not fair." And she's like, "Well, that's not fair." And she just hands him a piece of paper and goes, "Call this number."
Right.
And of course, the animation is very frenetic and kind of like staccato and frenzied. Yeah. So yeah, he kind of like, frantically dials the phone and picks it up. And it just cuts to like this guy just in this like room, sitting at a desk in this room, and the phone rings and he just picks it up and instinctively he just goes, "Life's not fair."
Yeah, that's his job.
And the guy goes, "What?" And he goes, "Life's not fair." And he just puts the phone down.
Yeah.
And just like weird little bits like that. Yeah. Like, I like those little moments.
It's not without amusements. Like I said, it's not bad at all. It's just we don't have children. It's like I only watched this for the podcast.
Yeah.
It's like...
Well, I suppose there's a question, a horrible question that I, realize we're going to have to start asking each other at some point.
Are we going to have kids?
No. Like if you...
Separately, right? Because I'm not...
Well, I don't know how...
I don't even know any...
Yeah,
not biologically.
Yeah, exactly.
We want to talk about adopting or something.
No, but if you did have kids, would you show them this film? Would you be happy for them seeing this?
Happy in the sense that like there's nothing inappropriate or anything like that.
Yeah. No, but
I wouldn't cater. I wouldn't purvey. I wouldn't curate this for them.
Okay.
No, they. I would want to watch the films that.
Yeah, obviously there are like child films from like our childhood or from certainly before this where we prefer them, and so we like watch that.
I suppose I don't know how it works, and we talked before about how parenting ends up. You're just going if you want, but. I wouldn't, not early. I'd want my kid to like grow up with slower films.
Okay.
And tune into that
You want your kid to develop an attention span first, is it?
Genuinely.
Okay.
Because I think that is one of the biggest problems now that you're going to have with your kids, is they do not develop attention spans.
Yeah.
Like the skill of handwriting is it's being lost in real time.
Yeah.
Handwriting is a thing that will die with us, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I worry about, like, fine, whatever, like, I'd be fusty. But, I mean, I think it's a fucking shame that handwriting is dying.
Yeah.
That would be nice if that continued. But attention spans, no, you got to try and, like, hold on to that for as long as you can. So, no, you start them off with slower films, and then down the line, maybe, if they want to watch Dogman. But I would never say, you got to watch Dogman.
Okay.
I wouldn't start them with it. You go, no. The fix is too quick with this.
Right.
You have to learn to be patient.
Okay.
Watch The Wizard of Oz.
Right, okay.
Yeah. What about you? Would you be happy with your kid watching it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I wouldn't be like, if they wanted to go see it, or if they wanted to put it on.
I'm not taking them to see it.
Okay.
If I got to go to the cinema with a kid, we're going to see something good.
Yeah, no, of course, yeah. No, we're going to see September 5th. Shut up.
Exactly.
Stop crying.
So learn something.
Yeah.
Life isn't fair.
Yeah. I could have got this from Dogman, Dad. Yeah, I like it. I wouldn't. It's not a film that I would keep them away from. Because I think there are some like Trolls. Like that's the type of kids film where I look at that and go, yeah, I wouldn't want to show that to my kids.
Well, because it's just colours and vacuous, and
it really does feel like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
no, it's not. No,
I haven't seen those films, so I can't speak to their quality. But I don't have much faith in them.
It's not like that.
Yeah.
Not in that way. Not in that. Nothing philosophical. Purely, I mean, I don't even know how it's measured because I don't go to the gym. But you don't start on the treadmill at however many miles per hour.
Okay.
You start with a walk. And you build into a sprint.
Yeah.
So no, you don't want to start with the sprint of Dogman.
No.
Okay, love hurts and life isn't fair.
Yeah.
Okay, what's it about?
Ki Hai Kwan?
I know Ki and Kwan. The middle bit has always been a bit.
Kwan.
Yeah, Ki Kwan. Ki
Hua Kwan.
Ki Ha Kwan. Hi. Go on, I'll start my sister.
Should we just keep making noises until
vague Asian noises
until an opinion is reached? Yeah. The guy from Indiana Jones and more recently Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yes, those are the two things.
Things.
Loki, I think, as well.
Oh, yeah, he's been in a couple of things. Yeah. Well, now that he's sort of back after Everything Everywhere All at Once, people want to see him in things again. And presumably he wants to be in things again?
Yeah, I don't think he's been held at gunpoint to be in these films.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is basically his John Wick or nobody.
His
right?
vehicle.
His vehicle.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were trying to do like a play on his name just to make it sound
I wasn't.
Okay.
I just said vehicle in a southern
vehicle.
Vehicle.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you
that is quite back-breaking bending over there.
Well, that's why I thought, okay.
That's more your speed.
Yeah.
That's more Dogman than my...
Yeah, I was going to say, Sam's attempting this?
No. I was just saying vehicle in a vaguely whimsical way.
Okay. But yeah, this is basically his John Wick / Nobody, where it's like a hyper-stylized, hyper-violent action film centered around how awesome he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of. And it's a Valentine's Day movie.
Yeah, I feel like that's also their kind of like...
USP.
Yeah.
That's the kind of pitch.
Yeah, but it's not really. I mean, it kind of is, but it isn't.
No. Well, we'll circle back to that.
Okay.
I don't know if it was the case with Everything Everywhere. Maybe a novelty overpowered it. But his voice bugged me in this film.
Yeah, because this is his voice. He's not putting on a voice.
No, it's not, and it's not different than he had in Everything Everywhere.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but it annoyed me here.
Okay.
I'm glad he had his resurgence. He seems like a nice guy.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't mind if he went away now.
Oh, really?
I just don't think he's the type of actor that kind of... He's not a bad actor, but it's sort of... Some actors have comebacks, and then that's it.
Okay.
You know, it's like, oh my God, he's come back. No, he had that one more great thing or whatever. I mean, he won the Oscar, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then some stay. I think he's one of the ones that maybe shouldn't have stayed.
Is he just not a leading man? I mean, this film isn't using him correctly. I don't feel like he uses anyone correctly.
Okay,
but
to be kind to the bloke, because obviously you probably have gleaned it. We did not like this film.
No.
Maybe he needs to branch out and do different things now, you know. But, I mean, yeah, this is the same gimmick as Everything Everywhere. The last bloke you'd expect to be a badass is a badass.
Yeah.
Which doesn't help the stereotype that all Asians are secretly adept at martial arts.
It doesn't.
It's true.
Okay.
No, it's not true. But yeah, I just find that funny. It's like the last guy you expect, like a substantial portion of the population would expect.
Yeah.
Right, bro, you must be good at kung fu. Ariana DeBose, like the love interest, hasn't exactly been making the most of her Oscar springboard.
She needs to... Like, Dakota Johnson was like, I'm firing my agent after Madam Web.
Yeah.
Ariana DeBose, like... what we got? Craven?
Argyle and ISS.
Yeah.
All last year,
Yeah. Get another guy. He's not looking out for you.
Or girl.
Or girl, sorry.
Ooh, sexist.
Or them. Get another them. They're clearly not looking out
them.
for you.
Oh, fuck. No, I'm the problematic one. I didn't need Rhys Darby turning up. He's been funny sometimes, but he can also be grating.
Which one's that?
The New Zealander? The one they have party that guy?
Well, he's really grating on me personally.
Yeah, there are some... like one or two things, like, alright, like Flight of the Conchords he's good in.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of the time it's... stop it.
Well, that's the thing, because like I work in an office, and we usually have the radio on when we're working.
Yeah.
And I think he's currently doing the ad campaigns for Zero accounting software.
Yeah.
And if it's not him...
On a mountain bike.
Yeah. It's like riding up a mountain on square wheels.
Yeah.
That's not New Zealand.
No.
Try
again.
No.
Didn't think you would.
I shot. But yeah, if it's not him, then that
doesn't... I know as you're driving home later, you're like, driving up a minute. Practicing it.
I'll get there. One day.
Your Everest.
My mountain with square wheels.
There you go.
Yeah, so, I mean, if it's not him, then it sounds exactly like him. But yeah.
It is him.
So I'm hearing him basically like every 20 minutes on the radio when they're playing that advert of every day.
So you want to throttle him?
Yeah, I'm really not enjoying him at the moment.
It's visually uninventive. The action's uninspired. It looks quite cheap. It is a relatively cheap film, only $18 million budget. The two Pulp Fiction-inspired assassins were bothersome. You know the ones I'm talking about, the Marshawn Lynch. It's not funny. It's short. I give it that. It's strange to call your villain Knuckles now. Like the Sonic franchise has escaped its silo.
Yeah.
You know, like you don't have to be into it now to know that Knuckles is a thing.
No, it's in the culture again.
It's in the culture.
Yeah.
There's at least one upbeating scene, but I think there's quite a few.
Oh, yeah.
One can often see the raison d'etre of a film, even if it fails. I know why the adaptation of Cats, while malignant, exists. Don't get me wrong, this isn't worse than Cats. But it's hard to isolate exactly what anyone saw in this that made it worth producing.
Ke Huy Quan.
Yeah, and like you said, I guess the thin USP of the V-Day setting and the idea that if you're broad, wants to go to the pictures, this is a film that men can enjoy as well. Like, a Valentine's Day film. Let's go to the cinema.
Yeah.
Oh, it's action and it's love. Ke Huy Quan's 53. Ariana DeBose is 34. I know that's what Hollywood does, but I felt it here. Probably because I know him as a child actor from the 80s.
Yeah.
My judgment about such age gaps is limited, but it did feel... No. Maybe it's more that I buy that he'd be in love with her, but not the other way around.
Yeah.
He is a 50-year-old Asian bloke.
I mean, he is. Funny, yeah, I mean, like, that's the thing. He's small, and I don't think he looks, like, old.
No, you know. Is there an Asian version of Black Don't Crack?
Well, no, it's usually the other way around with Asians, isn't it?
Chinkle Don't Wrinkle?
Oh, dear.
Chinkle. It's like a baby one. Go on, sorry.
That's like their tadpole form.
Yeah. No, I think Carl Pilkington's theory was that you never see... Is it like a middle-aged Chinese? Like, they're young, and then they're old.
Well, that's the point I was going to make.
Yeah.
They crack immediately.
He's right, you're saying.
Yeah, no. Right?
So no, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's totally on the money.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, he doesn't look young, does he? Yeah, I suppose he looks his age.
Yeah. No, but I think that it seems to be that they seem to age very quickly. Yeah. From well, you look at me like that. You're the one that did a racism just now.
It's just the word they, isn't it? They do say. I just know like landmines for people. I don't give a shit. Obviously.
Okay.
Chinkle Don't Wrinkle. Can we make that the title?
No,
we probably can't.
No, we absolutely can't.
I'd love to though. Chinkle Don't Wrinkle.
Such a genuine little laugh that you had, a little moment you had.
Something's got to be done with that. I don't know what, but it's going in the notebook. It ended on a note of stark annoyance, an odd little waste of time. But fortunately, that time is little.
Yes. Yeah. Like Ki Hai Kwan.
Like Ki Hai Kwan, because they're short, aren't they?
No, they're not all short.
Oh, they are.
They just don't all have middle age, apparently.
No middle age. Name a tall Chinaman.
What?
Thank you.
No, you can't do that.
Name a tall Chinaman.
You can't just be like, oh, do that.
Go on, name a tall white guy.
See?
Don't call me that.
See, when you put me on the spot, I can't do anything.
Okay, fine. I thought that would prove my point, but obviously it didn't.
No.
Yeah, I when I try to think of a tall white man, I'm struggling. Tall black guy, it's coming to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, not tall white guy. Why is that?
There most certainly are, aren't there?
Yeah, of course there are.
Yeah.
Who's a famous tall... Steve Merchant. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tall black guy. Basketball players.
Yeah.
Tall Asian guy. Don't exist. I think that's all I got for love. That's all I got for Love Hurts.
That's all you got for Love Hurts.
Actually, I think ironically the tallest man ever was Chinese, I think.
Oh, there you go.
There's loads of them, isn't there?
Yeah. Okay.
Well, there are loads of Chinese people. It's like over 1 billion of them.
No, yeah, it's reached the point now where it's just like anything we say.
I know.
It's like, oh, is that okay? Yes. No, there are a lot of Asian people.
Chinese, not Asian.
Chinese, oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was being specific.
Oh, no, fuck! I got it wrong!
Also, don't do that. It's the American that is. We imported that. I don't like it.
What?
People say Asian in this country now to mean Chinese, Japanese.
Yeah.
That's American. When we say Asian, we're supposed to mean Indian, Bangladesh.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
So, sharpen up, please.
Okay. I did find it peculiar.
This has gone off the rails, this has. I don't any conversation we've had since kind of, getting our act together has gone this off the rails, but I like it.
Oh dear. This is going to be the energy going forward now, is it?
There's only one review left, don't worry.
Okay. I found it peculiar, and I don't know if this is a sign of anything at all. Mm-hmm. His real estate rival.
Yes.
Because that's, I guess, the only thing we haven't mentioned is Ki Hai Kwan plays...
he's an estate agent.
He's a real estate agent, yeah. And he has a rival.
Yeah.
Played by one of the property brothers.
Yes.
I think the same property brother, and if it's the other one, then that'll be something.
Yeah.
But the same property brother that was in...
Girls 5 Ever.
Girls 5 Ever. Yeah. In the second season, they kind of start their own production label, and it's obviously, I think it's all like one weird big meta joke about like celebrities just like dipping into industries they don't understand and whatever. But one of them specifically wants to fight, like he wants to like start a career in fighting, and he has a big fight scene with one of the Girls 5 Ever at the end of that season.
Yes,
they have like a big proper punch up and everything. That guy is also in this film. And his gimmick as a real estate agent is that he fights.
Yes.
It's like, I'll fight for you. And like on the poster, he's like in a fighting pose. And then the film, I guess, subverts that by like when he's in the final action scene, he goes to like defend Ki Hai Kwan and just gets shot dead immediately.
Yes.
Is this guy generally trying to start a career in fighting?
So he's trying to corner the market.
Yeah.
I think his agent is like, listen, I know it's a strange ask. Do you have any roles that are like estate agents that kind of branch into martial arts?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's probably a freak thing, isn't it? But,
maybe.
Yeah, do a film about a state agent getting a property brother, like whatever the film is, just happened to be a fighty movie.
But also, we'll like continue that joke from Girls 5 Ever, a show that no one has seen.
And has been cancelled.
Yeah. Where he just wants to fight shit.
Yeah.
Because that's very much not his gimmick in the show, from what little of it I've seen. They're both just...
I don't know.
They're just like regular, real estate.
Okay.
We're going to like improve your house. Oh no, we're over budget. But it all works.
Yeah. Are they twins?
Yeah.
They're twins. Identical twins.
Yeah.
That's it, right?
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And finally, Captain America Brave New World. I don't think it's worth explaining the premise. I really don't. It's more MCU superhero shenanigans.
Yeah, it's I think the only important thing, like plot wise and sort of film and tone wise, really, is that they're trying to do Winter Soldier again, right?
Yes, it's in that lineage.
Yeah, like that seems to be what the Captain America films have become now.
Yes,
they're kind of
paranoid conspiracy thrillers.
Yeah, paranoid thrillers. Yeah.
So Julius Onah, the director and one of the 5 credited writers, previously brought us the Cloverfield Paradox and wrote the Bad Genius remake. Yeah. The title suggests they're still trying to do All the President's Men, political paranoia thing, Orwellian kind of stuff, but nominally Huxleyan here. The biggest inspiration this time is clearly the Manchurian Candidate.
See, when you say Hux, I just think of Huxley Pig now.
Yeah, I do as well.
Because you've introduced that to the canon of the podcast.
Well, I became familiar with Aldous Huxley after Huxley Pig.
Oh, right.
Because of course I did.
Any relation? Like now,
it might be named after Aldous Huxley. I don't know. Yeah, no, but no, trust me too. Don't worry.
Okay.
I try and get past it, and maybe that's what adulthood is. I think
getting past Huxley.
If you get if you were giving a speech and you were talking about Huxley and Aldous Huxley, you just never acknowledge the fact that you think of Huxley Pig.
Okay.
A child would go, Huxley Pig, and the rest of us have to just pretend that we don't think of that.
What child is going, Huxley Pig? Like nowadays.
Oh yeah, now. But don't. Why are you trying to make me feel old?
You were the one that were like, "Oh, it'll be us soon, George."
Yeah, all right,
like,
fine. All right. Monkey see, monkey do.
As if we had a prime.
What? Okay, the biggest inspiration this time is clearly the Manchurian Candidate, with brainwashing and psychological triggers. An argument could also be made that Red Hulk lurking within the American president is like a commie wink. Like there's a red in the White House kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
I don't think they thought that. But
no, but I also don't think that's something I've heard from anyone talking about.
Oh, really?
Film. Yeah.
That to me, yeah. I thought, red, and it's the president, like, it taps into that, like, is the president a communist? Like, yeah. That's what I thought anyway. Because, it's like a 60 Centis movie. That's the idea, isn't it? Incidentally, the existence of Red Hulk is meant to be a twist. It's one of the only things I knew about the film going in.
Yeah, this was a big, like, more so than anything I can think in recent memory.
Yeah,
this is the
biggest
marketing misstep.
Yeah.
Like, on this scale. Because, they're promoting the film. It's Red Hulk on the poster.
Yeah.
It's Red Hulk in all the trailers. It's Red Hulk in all the merchandise.
Yeah.
And it turns out they're like, this was supposed to be a surprise.
I know, it's mental.
Yeah.
Anthony Mackie is there. They're trying to establish him now as the new leader of the Avengers, which I don't buy. For one, he lacks the presence. For two, there's a subtle snarkiness around the idea that he isn't a recipient of the super soldier serum. He's just a guy. So doesn't that make him more impressive in a way?
It would.
Do you know what I mean, though?
Yeah, were it not for all of the other enhancements they give him.
Because he's also been supplied with Wakandan tech, which, given that fictional nation's isolationist stance, I can only infer to be a black solidarity thing.
Oh, right. Okay.
And that's not me being Sam. Like, what else would that be? They don't give out this shit. That's the...
I feel like there was a thread, or there was like a line in Infinity War where they were like, we have opened our borders, but this is not what we expected when we opened our borders, that you'd all come here with aliens and shit. But I have literally no memory of the second Black Panther film.
Same.
I remember absolutely none. So I don't know if the idea was they closed their borders again. And so
I don't know. I feel like I've read something somewhere that's like, it was a gift for helping them do something. But I don't know. I noticed they haven't been given it to any of the Caucasians.
No, but that's the thing. Like, so he's got like Wakandan wings, I think.
Yeah, and like shield kind of
Well,
thing.
no, because that's the thing. He's got the Captain America shield.
No, I meant like there's like a force field kind of thing.
Oh yeah, around
Yeah.
It's similar to the Black Panther suit, where I think if you like any impact on the shield, you can like push that back out as an energy field.
Yeah.
It's like reflecting.
Absorb it and push it back out.
Yeah. But it's so silly. Like there are multiple times in the film where he's got his little Captain America shield, and then someone like fires stuff at him, and he just protects himself with his wings over the top of the shield.
Yeah, so I could do that.
Well,
like,
not just that. It's
what's
like,
special about that?
So the one like Captain America thing about him.
Yeah.
And you're just using your Falcon wings.
Yeah.
Like you're not even using the shield, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. And I don't know whether it's the same thing for you, and I don't know whether it's the same thing in general.
Yeah.
But obviously they keep referring to him as Captain America during the film.
You know, he is Captain America.
Yeah, he's Captain America. And every time I was just like, that's not Captain America.
No, you're not. Yeah. And again, it's not because like, oh, we don't give a shit.
No.
But it's like, oh no, Chris Evans was our Captain America. Though I think people do seem to be feeling that way.
Yeah.
There's like, he's not. He just doesn't. Anthony Mackie, I think I talked about with it was Elevation, where I said with the Hurt Locker, he's really good in that film. It's like that guy's going places. But now he's settled into this like kind of bland leading man, ironically vanilla. You know, just sort of guy.
Yeah.
He's the guy on screen. He's not bad. He's just there.
Yeah.
And it's like, nah, you're not the leader of the Avengers, mate.
No.
You're not. And I don't even care, but you're not.
Yeah. And like you said, it's not a case of like, oh no, Chris Evans is Captain America.
Yeah.
You can transition superheroes, but like keep the same identity. You can do that well.
Yeah.
We look at the Spider-Verse films. The whole thing of that first Spider-Verse film, I think they kind of recognized, and I don't know how intentional it was, but I do think they sort of recognized that to culture, to most people, to the mainstream, Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Yes, of course.
So we need to introduce the idea that other people can be Spider-Man.
Yes, or maybe there's also wisdom in the idea that if we've spent a franchise with one character as that superhero, if it's going to be passed on, we don't have to then see it. I.e. Joseph Gordon-Levitt in The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
Which we understand the Batman cloak is going to be passed on.
Yes.
But I don't have to experience that.
No.
Because I just spent 3 films watching Christian Bale do it.
Exactly, yeah. And I am talking as someone that has not watched and has no intention of watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So I don't know if this was all covered there.
Yeah.
But I don't look at this and go, oh yeah, that's Captain America. Or I don't look at this and go, okay, so he's becoming Captain America. Because the film is very much like, no, he's Captain America now.
Yeah, it's done now. He has his internal arc, I suppose, is that he has to kind of get to grips with the fact that he is Captain America.
Yeah.
And like, you know, everyone calls him that, but well, Harrison Ford's like, you're not Steve Rogers, and that's like harsh.
Yeah.
But we're meant to feel that, but we go, yeah, he's right.
He's not Steve Rogers.
But then they do some bullshit thing at the end, don't they? But again, it's like that's snarky. Isn't he better in a way? Whereas like, oh, Steve Rogers was something. He was like an icon.
Yeah.
Nothing could be him. You're something to aspire. Like you show that anyone can do it.
Yeah.
There's some bullshit at the end like that, isn't there?
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, absolutely. If we give you like indestructible wings and, and an indestructible suit and
Anyone
indestructible laser drones.
I mean, they're not wrong.
Yeah.
Anyone could do it.
Yeah.
He's not wrong.
It's not impressive.
He's proven the point. Yeah. I suppose it's accurate.
No, that's the thing. Considering that this film went through multiple reshoots and multiple rewrites and multiple whatevers, there is
to make sure it was perfect.
To make sure that this is the best version of this film that it could possibly be. I think there is something to doing a film about a guy taking on the mantle of one of the biggest superheroes in the world.
100%.
Who kind of doesn't deserve it.
Yeah.
Because that's obviously the film will justify why he deserves it. But yeah, it's the Spider-Verse thing, it's the Puss in Boots thing, it's the like this idea that the character has to earn the legacy that they're taking on. And this film just doesn't do that. It just goes, he's earned that legacy.
Yeah,
I'm just sitting here like as a casual viewer of these things going, no, he hasn't.
Yeah, they skip the important stuff. Like, he just does it, all right? Just accept it. He is there. He's black, all right?
Yeah.
He's got it. He has it already.
Yeah. To the point where, because he has his own Falcon now. Like another guy.
God, we'll come to him.
Yeah, but like to the point where because they call him Falcon.
Yeah.
And I will admit, there were a couple of moments where I was like, hang on.
Oh, yeah, you're...
Falcon?
Yeah.
No, he's Falcon. Sorry, did we lost me for a moment.
Okay, fine. I understand that it needs to be new Captain America because, you know, you can say a lot with what does America mean now in the world or whatever.
Yeah.
Did they need a replacement Falcon? Could it not just been a different superhero? Did it have to be Falcon as well?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Falcon...
Vulture. No, that's another thing as well.
Yeah.
Crow Man. Can't go on.
Yeah. No one's going to get that.
No, I know.
Falcon doesn't seem that important that like it need a replacement.
No,
I can see how
Falcon's one of the characters that prior to the MCU I hadn't heard of.
No, exactly.
I'd heard of Iron Man, and Captain America, and Thor and Hulk.
I could see how, like, if you're suddenly living in a world with no Captain America, why they would want a new Captain America.
Yeah.
You don't need a new Falcon.
No, exactly. Okay. I'm very tired of Giancarlo Esposito doing what he does now.
Especially since I think the film knows, doesn't it? Because he was a reshoot, right? He wasn't even in the original.
Oh, was he? That's production. I have no idea.
I don't know it extensively, but I've seen a couple of people talk about this film, and the common thing that they seem to say is Giancarlo Esposito was like a last minute. He was in the reshoots.
Okay.
To give the film some gravitas.
Right.
To give the film some.
It's literally the thing Kermo says about Michael Bay. Oh, getting some actors to do the acting stuff.
It's literally that, and it's so disappointing that like Giancarlo Esposito is that. He's the guy.
He's literally the go-to. Like, oh, we need evil gravitas. Bring in Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah.
But the irony being that he's done it so much now that it's all deflated. There's no gravitas anymore.
No, there's no weight to it. But it's sad that he seems to like that he's complicit in that. He has to be, right? He has to know that's what these films want.
I don't think he's starved for roles.
No.
He was on Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
You do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You know. Okay, yeah, Joaquin Torres, the new Falcon, is fucking annoying until they stick him behind a computer anyway. They recycle that cliche of the character having a cool entrance, then celebrating it with a little dance and lamenting that nobody saw it. Like, oh man, nobody saw that? You know, that shit they do now.
It just feels ridiculous, doesn't it, considering that Deadpool is now canon to the MCU, and Deadpool was making fun of that in 2016.
I know, yeah.
I mean, people were making fun of it before that, but a character within this universe has made fun of that.
Yeah.
And they're just doing it sincerely.
They do a similar thing later on, after a moment of sincerity between Wilson and Barnes. You know, when like, he says, oh no, you are him, with some like pithy, whatever, some clever wording. He's like, oh, that was a good like, last line. Did your speech right? Do that? Yeah, he throws something. It's like, right, okay. Again, sincerity, go away. And that scene's the franchise in a nutshell. Harrison Ford is angry Harrison Ford.
He is.
He's not a problem, but he doesn't like make the film worse, but he's doing the angry Harrison Ford thing.
Yeah.
I can't remember if adamantium has been introduced before, but here it's described as more indestructible than vibranium. Indestructibility is an absolute state, no?
Actually, yeah.
You can't be more indestructible.
I mean, you can be... You can
be more destructible. You can't be more indestructible. That's absolute. I'm invincible. Aha! But he's invincible.
If you destroy something that was once believed to be indestructible, it's no longer indestructible.
No, you just proved it was destructible.
Yeah. It's got a high threshold of destructibility.
Yes, but it just proves that we were wrong to ever call it indestructible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a fair point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to see Hulk dong, but the trouser thing is stupid. The maintaining that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, that is silly.
If it has a message, it's actually not a rotten one. It's about redemption and giving people a second chance and unity and all that. It's business as usual. It's the 35th film in the series, and it feels like the 35th film in a series. It's a number no franchise has before reached.
Is it not?
No. The MCU now has more films than any other franchise ever.
More than... What have we got? Bond? More than Bond? Yeah, more than Bond.
Way more than Bond. More than Carry On. Even.
Carry On, yeah.
No, more than any.
More than any.
We never got a 35 before. So now we know. This is what 35 feels like.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah, no, it certainly does feel as you've described.
Yes.
No, it's just, I mean, considering, I don't know what the budget for this film was, but it has to be, like, ridiculously high, doesn't it?
I would say macro.
Yeah?
Well, as in macro, but a micro version thereof, in terms of budgets these days.
If you just take...
It's not Avengers level budget, you know?
Well, that's the thing. If you take the final film as, just that, what we got at the end of it all, I would agree with you.
Yeah.
But
that's true.
There's been a lot of, production...
Thinking back on it, seems quite cheap, doesn't it?
Oh, it's certainly a step down from... Not even, like, Endgame stuff. Like, recent MCU films, this feels like a step down.
Yeah. Don't recommend it.
No, I don't. I don't recommend it either.
And that's all
I just find it funny that you mentioned adamantium, like, a moment ago. That this film introduces it to the universe, finally. The whole...
This is it.
Reason... I think it's this one. Because, the whole point of vibranium, from what I understand, is that they couldn't use adamantium because it was tied in with the X-Men and they didn't have the license.
Quantum.
From
the Bond thing, because they couldn't do Spectre.
Oh, yeah. No, exactly.
So then they literally just went, Quantum was like a subsidiary.
No,
Spectre.
No, Spectre's the main one.
Yeah.
But now, it's like, we finally have adamantium again. Oh, adamantium's better than vibranium.
It's better. It's more indestructible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just weird, isn't it? That, like, this is, by name, it's a Captain America film, starring a guy that at least we don't believe to even be Captain America, even though the film insists on it. And just the fact that, all right, what MCU stuff feeds into this? Incredible Hulk from 2008?
Yes.
And The Eternals, which has been cancelled because no one saw it.
Yeah, I didn't know that thing in this was from Eternals.
Oh, and you saw Eternals?
No, I don't think I did.
Did you not?
Do you know what? I honestly don't know if I've seen Eternals.
Are you being sincere?
I don't know if I've seen the Eternals.
Okay.
I do not know.
No,
but I certainly didn't know watching it that I...
Okay. I'm sure you've talked
it.
about like Kit Harington and Harry Styles and all that. Like how they were and...
Maybe. I honestly don't know.
I don't remember.
Honestly couldn't tell you. But I certainly watching this didn't know that was connected to Eternals.
No. I mean, the only reason I know is because there were memes for ages showing that big like creature island thing. Like,
I found out after the fact.
Yeah.
I said like, oh, apparently... It was like praising it. It was going, oh, they said that it was silly introducing this in Eternals, never to pay it off. Well, look at it now.
Well, yeah, because it was kind of like there would be memes circulating on the internet going, another MCU project and another MCU project that doesn't acknowledge this fucking thing sticking out of the planet.
Right.
And when Captain America came out, finally people were like, oh, finally we can retire that meme now.
Sure.
But yeah, it's just ridiculous that like that and Incredible Hulk, which is like a different, like Edward
it was
Norton.
The second film.
The second film, Edward Norton was not even part of this universe.
Yeah, 33 films distance.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, like, why Captain America? Like, why is Captain America the one that gets his name on this film? Why
do you mean?
Well, why couldn't this... What makes this film... I kind of understand why in The Winter Soldier, why that has to be a Captain America film. Because Winter Soldier is so tied to Captain America's history. But in this film, it's like, he's got no personal stake in anything that's happening. He's not connected to any of the Incredible Hulk stuff.
None of the Eternal I see what you're saying. Not the character necessarily, but what they would say is why this is a Captain America film.
Yeah.
Is because this is the franchise within the franchise that's doing the political conspiracy paranoia stuff.
Okay.
That's the Captain America thing.
Yeah.
Winter Soldier on. Not the first one. That was doing that was a superhero movie, but in the 40s.
Right.
That was a separate thing. But yeah, Winter Soldier wasn't, what was it, like surveillance, wasn't it? Like mass surveillance. Yeah. And then they carried that on through Civil War. Or, like political America fractionated sort of thing. So I'm not saying it's well handled or realised, but that's what they would say. If you want to do the quantum realm now, you do Ant-Man. If you want to do space, you do Guardians. Like, yeah, the thing for Captain America is political thriller.
Okay.
And the reason the Hulk, I guess, is because General Ross was a Hulk character.
Oh, right.
And there's now... look, it's shit.
It is shit.
It's shit, and I'm tired of talking about it. So I'm going to stop now.
Well, I mean, if you've stopped, then...
You better stop as well.
I guess there's no podcast then, is there?
We'll see you with Volume 15.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.